Go to the supermarkets, Nikki, one of the perplexes that at least I find is reading a nutritional label. There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of jargon. We don't know how to read it. There's saturated versus unsaturated. What are we looking for with nutrition labels? How can we make the life easy?
Yeah, they are challenging, and it's good to know that if you want to connect in with community health centres near you, sometimes dietitians there will run supermarket tours, and they'll help you look at labelling. But a few things to look at. So we're lucky in Australia because packaged foods do need nutrition labels. And so what they're usually in quite small writing, so take your glasses if you're challenged with eyesight. And a couple of things to look out for is the amount of servings in the package. That's one of the first things. So it will say, I've got an example in front of me at the moment, and it says servings per package 11. So that means that if you look at the overall package and you think, I want to eat half this package, then that equals 5 servings of that, which means that if it's a high fat, high sugar food, then you're eating more than what's considered 1 serving. So that's the first thing. It's about the proportion that you eat. The other thing is that you can see how much total fat is in the product, and generally speaking, you want to reduce the amount of saturated fat that you eat. So, for example, if the total fat said that per 100 grams there was 30 grams of fat, that's a high fat food. So that means that that choice of that product in that supermarket is going to be one of the higher fat foods that you choose on that day. So if you're going to buy it, then think about what the other foods might be that you buy on that day if you really, really want it. But you might want to pick up another variety of the same food and try and get that total fat less than 10 grams per 100 grams. So that's easy enough to remember. It's just 1/10 of the total, trying to get the total fat less than that. And similarly, saturated fat, it's really good to try and get less than 3 grams out of the total 100 grams. So this is quite technical information, but if you look up food nutrition information, if you look up the Australian guidelines, this is where I got this information. It gives you an example of what to look for related to that. The other thing about fat is that some other food names or ingredients are actually fat, but they get called something different. So, for example, if it says it's got coconut in it, coconut's quite high in trans fats. Also, kofa is a type of fat. What's in another example? Vegetable shortening is fat. I mean, it sounds like vegetables, doesn't it? But it's not. It's a type of fat. So there's lots of different. Palm oil is a fat. Dripping is a fat. So those are the things that can hide in ingredients, and you can look at the ingredients at the bottom of the nutrition label, and it will tell you everything that's in that product and the proportions of the total. And also look for sugars, because sugars per 100 grams, it really shouldn't be any more than 15 grams. But it depends on the type of food. So for a muesli bar, for example, it shouldn't be any more than 15 grams per 100 grams. So there might be other things in there that isn't called sugar, but it is sugar. Like examples would be dextrose, that's a type of sugar. Fructose, a type of sugar. Anything with O's on the end. Glucose is another example, is usually sugar. There's honey, malt is a type of sugar. Brown sugar, obviously, maple syrup, sucrose. So those are all of the hidden foods, and I think that's part of why processed food, we should try and limit how much processed food we eat. If you buy a banana, it doesn't have a nutrition label. It doesn't need one. The only thing that's in it is banana. So that's why the whole foods is better than processed food, but it's fine to buy packaged foods and spend a bit of time getting ready to have a look at the nutrition information. You can use your iPhone to look up the Australian guidelines. How do I read a nutrition information panel? And then it will help you to have a look. And then the more you do it, the more practiced you get of things to look out for. And salt's another one. There's often a lot of salt in processed foods, and we should try and reduce that as well.